The stream is live.
You got one life, for crying out loud. You might as well just give it all you got.
The Deej, Dan Jordan.
Your daily dose of reality. Your daily dose of the Deej.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I need my daily dose of the Deej.
I make the news. I don't watch the news. I'm a leader.
The Sales Energizer, Dan Jordan.
Listen, don't worry how to sell, baby. Worry about why people buy. And it's fun.
You don't need a 5-hour energy. All you need is the Sales Energizer.
Just when I think it's not going to be as fun as the one before, each one gets successfully better. What's the word I'm looking for? What's it going to take to get you into this car today, huh?
And now, please welcome the Sales Energizer, Dan Jordan.
Boom! That's exactly it.
Do that. Let's do that.
Boom! That's exactly it. You got to have your arms in the air, Joe Miller. I mean, you think you know somebody. Oops. Hey, my thing's moving.
Too tight.
Yeah. You think, do you know we have exactly 2 viewers right now? We're going viral. You know, it's just insanity.
The last time we did this.
Yeah.
This might be the biggest growing podcast on the internet, up 100%.
That's right. We've
3 weeks.
200%. You know, one of the benefits about getting old is you just don't care anymore.
You don't care. I'm looking at my hair. I'm like, I really don't care.
That's right. Hold on. Now it's playing over here. I'm all for cocked. How do you shut the... Oh, I know what I need to do. Shut the sound off of that one. Look at that. Okay, we got stuff going. Dude, so I'm sorry. I'm literally pumping myself up. Before I got started, I took a deep breath. I did my little chant. You know my chant. It's like, I lead, not follow. I believe, not doubt. I create, not destroy. I make the news. I don't watch the news. I'm a leader. I'm a force for good. I'm a force for God. I set the standard, defy the odds. I stand up. I take charge. I win. And then I press play, and then I press go. Let's go live. You got to get yourself jacked up. And the reason is, as soon as I came home, I'm on a rant. As soon as I came home before, my beautiful wife, who I love dearly, was in the middle of doing something, and she's in her own head, and apparently everything I put is in the wrong place, and I did it to destroy her very existence in her head. Like, it's like I plan night and day to make her angry at me. I remember my brother-in-law said that to me. He said, you know, I spend half my day trying to figure out how not to get yelled at. You know? And I'm thinking, you know, anyway, he's not alone. But anyway, you know, that's the thing. An old-time sales guy no longer reacts to that type of garbage. Instead, we take a step back and respond. And you know why? Because I got the power. I just, you know, after I just ranted on my poor bride there, she stopped by the library. By the way, I still get library books. You know what's funny?
It's a great way to do it, because, you know, otherwise you're going to have a whole row of books behind you like that one. You know, if you really sit with a book long enough, how long do they give you at the library to take out a book?
You get 3 weeks. Yeah, you get 3 weeks. And then you could renew it. But it's a little game that I play with myself. Never renew. You know, you got to finish the mother. But,
yeah,
so let me ask you, because I think it's a... And you know, people could chime in. By the way, are we on LinkedIn, or this is just on the Tube of Eunice? All right. Well, listen, go to the Tube of Eunice if you're out there, and hang out with us, and you can ask questions and all that stuff, and maybe I could respond. I don't know how this works. You know, we're doing it over here. But that's a question that I have. Do you think, Mr. Old Guy, that it's more beneficial to you know, read a lot of books and learn a lot of stuff there, or read one book? Like, is it better to have 100 books that you read once, or one book that you've read 100 times?
I think it's the one book. I really do. I've read a lot of books, because it's one thing to read them, but if you don't and a lot of books are just super dense with material. You can't implement it all at one time. And when you don't implement it in your, in your daily routine, it gets lost. And you'll read that book again, and you'll come. I mean, like hundreds of times, you'll read a book. God, that's a great idea. God, that's a great idea. That's a fantastic idea.
Yeah, and you
I
just got to
do it
put,
over and over again.
in place. I remember I heard there was a guy who was into Dan Kennedy. Do I have the Dan Kennedy here? The Dan Kennedy Ultimate Sales Letter, greatest book ever.
That is one of my top 5 all-time books.
But he used to do the super conferences and stuff, and he told a story about a guy that would go every year to the super conference, and he'd go for the first half, and then he'd just leave. I mean, he'd pay for the whole thing, but he'd only go for the first half, and then he'd leave. And so finally he asked him, he said, "Why is that?" He goes, "Man, it's just too much information. I'm just going to take what I got here in the first half. I'm going to use it, and then I'll come back for more."
And it's called the Info Summit, so you can be expecting a lot of information.
Yeah, you get going on there. All right, that's cool. So what's going on with you this week? You're in Louisiana, and it snowed, eh?
11.5 inches of snow here. Never happened in 130 years. I've never seen it snow like that here before, ever. It's funny because my wife's from Sweden, and it's like really snowing. Like it's like really, really snowing. I'm like, wow, it's really coming down. And she just started laughing. Snow is when you can't see 6 inches in front of your face. That's real snow. But yeah, it was one of those events that just happened, and I've never seen it happen ever. All the time I've been around here, 64 years.
Yeah, well, so here's the question then, and just to follow up, my dad is hey, look who's here. What's it?
CG, Chris Gross.
Hey, is that CG? Oh,
yeah.
Look at that. You were just talking about how terrible my wife is, and now here she is bringing me some hot tea. You see that? Chris Gross was talking about you. All right. So so what was I going to say? Yes. So when I was a kid, this was the whole thing. That was my first job was shoveling snow. Oh, look who's here, Rodney Turner. Anybody that says Dan's the man gets a shout out. It just means nothing, but it's good. Well, Rodney, you're the man. You know how many people are watching? There's probably another person and haven't commented. See, that shows bravery on your part. We're like 100% with comments. Okay, so my first job was I'm in New Jersey. It snows. You become of age, and you can either deliver newspapers, which we do. But even before that, before they're going to give you a job to deliver newspapers, you got to prove your worth. So you have to shovel snow. And so you go around your neighborhood. It was so exciting. The school ended, and you think, there's snow. And the first thought from my neighborhood was filled with a bunch of everybody owned their own business. I told you the story, but a bunch of Jews, nobody's going into middle management. Everybody had a little, a schlock house, a little kind of store or whatever. Yeah. There was a guy who actually he called it the schlock house. It's just like a junk store. You would go there, but it's the schlock house. Anyhow, so like the Shapiros had a spice business, the Maxics had a pharmacy, the Myers had street cleaning, the Zismans were into what were they? Oh, they had a home repair. My dad had a little coffee shop. And so everybody had this thing. So when it snowed, the first thought is to follow the 11th commandment, which is a thing that the Goyim don't understand. The Goyim is a nice word for a non-Jew, by the way. So, which was never pay retail. Like if you wanted to buy something, earn it first and then you buy it. So figure out a way to earn it while you do. So snow is like free money because you can shovel. So you think, how can I earn money when it's snowing? And so all the kids would run around, and you would wake up early enough, but not too early because, you'd wake people up if you ring the doorbell. Can you shovel the snow? And so everybody kind of learned a little thing. So you wanted to go there were certain houses that you wanted because the sun rose from the east and it shone onto those houses. So you wanted to get those houses on the west side of the street because when you shoveled and the sun was on it, it just looked great.
Melted.
And on the other side, and so you wanted to get those first to get a good result. And then you would charge extra for the sidewalk. you know? And then when you do the sidewalk, then you go to the next door and you say, listen, I only did halfway the sidewalk. Do you want me to just do the sidewalks, even if you don't want the driveway? You know, because you could get sued with it. And, you know, the Jews know about suing. That's all they do. It's, you know, I don't know if you've ever heard of Jewish sushi. It's called sosumi. Stick with me. That's went fast.
Well done.
Anyway, that was the first job. And so my question is, you know, as we get older, you know, events happen in the world, and, you know, it kind of went away from me. And now I was listening to Bob Proctor earlier, and it's kind of come back. But any event that happens is a money. With enough creativity, you could figure out how to earn a buck from it.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you had to, given that you said it hasn't snowed in 130 years, you know,
right? Not to this level. You know,
what could you have done?
A couple of lakes. What's that?
Yeah, see, but that's it. Most people sit home, and I would have done it too. Just sit home and say, "Oh, look how good this is." But somebody grabbed a shovel. You know, somebody tied something onto their truck and did something. Somebody went to the nursing homes and tried to help people, you know, get to see their family and stuff like that. Somebody was figuring out a way to do stuff, which is how.
Well, here's the thing too, is that so everybody is running their water, right, to keep a little pencil thin thing of water so your pipes don't freeze, because they're not equipped for that here. So now all the water pressure goes like that. So they're trying to build the water pressure back. So stores are closed because they don't have enough water pressure. So I was thinking, if somebody was, you know, because Uber couldn't deliver and all that. So I think there was probably some kind of, if you could set it up quickly, there was probably some way to make some money delivering stuff.
Yeah,
people couldn't get out.
We used to go skiing up in Vermont, and you know, just always snowed whenever we went there, or whatever. And so people would always slide off the road or what have you. And there was always some joker in a Jeep and chains on his things, and he was driving around trying to pick you up for $10. It was like $10 got you anything back then. Gosh, that was so good. It was so
the
good.
Same thing. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
They do the same thing in Galveston, because people, you can ride on the beach in Galveston, but if you get into loose stuff, and most people won't ride on with a 4-wheel drive vehicle, they get stuck. They've got guys that make a living towing people out of the sand. I mean, make a good living.
That's right. Everybody and people are happy to give it. Well, I had an incident in the snow because I started, you know, here in Atlanta, schools were closed and all that stuff. I had, you know, I was working. It was just cold. There was no snow, but it was just really cold. But places closed. It was on a Monday, and I was going into real estate offices to pop by, and I had an incident that hasn't happened in a long time. Chris Gross, you'll love this. I ran into a really mean lady. You know, just like a mean lady, enough that you would like feel sorry for her. Like here's the thing, old guys can do this. I can compartmentalize. If that woman it's like she kicked me out and she was, you know, not interested. I gave her a card with cookies. She ripped the cookies off and she said, "Hey, anybody want cookies?" And threw it. I would like just a mean lady. And but I walked out of there after. I'll tell you what I said to her later. But I walked out of there and I was thinking, I'm so glad this isn't my first day. Like, imagine if this was my first day, what would I do here? And but to this point, in about 3 minutes, if she was standing right in front of me right now, I would have no idea what she looks like. Like, I've completely wiped it out. Now I've created an image in my head about her, and she's gruesome looking because, I mean, her attitude, she's just gruesome. But in real life, if she came out, I would never know who she is. And I don't know if that's just me or like, what do you do to shrug off a bad event?
Well, I got to tell you, I was not that many years ago. You would never have wanted to ask that question to me, because I usually get furious and pissed off, and I don't forget. right? So, it really was a Tony Robbins. It was an audio that I was listening to, and he said, "Ask the question, what? Why did this come to me? For what good did it? For what good can come out of this? And what?"
Oh, what's great
And
about this?
I ask that question a lot every day. It's like when something's going on, it's like, what did it come to teach me? What did this right now come to teach me? And I'll sit there and write on it.
Yeah.
It changes. When he has that expression. If you ask a better question, you get a better answer. Uh, my thing
Yeah.
was always just to react and I did it this morning. I did it with my wife. I was like, "Arr." But um, you know, sat down with, ask a better question. And if you ask a better
That's a good
question, sit down,
idea.
what,
So you really will
what,
ask that? You'll say like, what's great about this? What's good about, what am I supposed to learn from this? You know what
yep,
I thought about? I said, oh, I got a good story to talk with Joe Miller about. Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway,
And
but I did practice. There was somebody else, by the way, this was the best thing. There was somebody else right there who was witnessing the whole thing. And that person, the guy, was terribly embarrassed.
and they were in the same office with this real estate
Yeah,
person?
yeah, for what was happening. Yeah, it was. I think it was the owner and probably the broker and an agent. And so the agent was so embarrassed. I looked over at him like, is this chick always like this? But anyways, but what I did was I practiced good salesmanship and mirroring. And so I walked in there, and this is my normal typical line. I just walk into a place, big smile with my card and cookies. Hey guys, my name's Dan. Hey, I'm one of those salesman type characters. Don't I look it? Which 100% of the time gets a smile. And this chick says, this woman, I shouldn't say chick, she was like 1,000. Anyway, so she says, we're not interested. And I think that was her real voice, and I looked at her and she was short. I didn't want to get too close because it would have been domineering. And so I looked at her and I said, not interested? Just like that. I didn't say, what are you not interested in? I didn't even tell you anything. I just said, not interested. And she was like forced to respond. She's like, well, no, but you can leave a card. Now, what would you say when you can leave a card? I'm leaving you a card, you witch. And so instead, but the whole thing. And so, I gave her a card, and then she thought that was done. And I knew nothing was going to happen, but I wanted to force it. And I said, can I get one of yours? And she said, no, which is just so great. And then finally I said, now what's your name? At the end, I'm not giving up. Now, what's your name? And her name, ironically, was Karen, which is great. And she said,
That is funny.
yeah. And I went and I shook her hand and I said, Karen, you're a very nice woman, in the most passive aggressive way as I could. And I walked out, and then I passed the other guy and I looked at him, and he literally shrugged his shoulders. He's like, I mean, a real estate office, and she doesn't want to talk to a sales guy? Like, who are you? Your whole life is to build relationships, and she's afraid to do that. Anyhow, she was probably having a bad day. It doesn't matter.
But that's the thing, right? You don't really know. I mean, you always assume that they're just bad people, but you really don't know what happened in their world 20 minutes before you walked in that door.
Right. It could have been terrible. I don't think she's a bad person. She was mean to me, but whatever. But it gave me an opportunity to practice my skills. And that's my thing. What do you do? What do you do when someone says, get the hell out of my office? You don't want to turn tail and run, and you don't want to, get aggressive with them. So what do? You know what you do? You prepare for it, which is what I do.
Yeah.
And, and the trick is just mirror them. Get out of my office. Get out of your office? Or sometimes you need to prepare for can't you see the no soliciting sign? That one too. I have that one too. Yeah, no, I saw the no soliciting sign. Most people don't pay attention to it. Would you like me to leave? I always say, would you like me to leave? And then they feel like idiots, and they're like, no. What do you got? You know,
so yeah, you can use that time as the question, right? What did it come to teach me? And the other one question you ask behind that is, and how can I enjoy the process?
And how can I? Oh yeah,
How
that's
can I
your question.
enjoy it, right? What did it come to teach me? How can I enjoy it?
Yeah, I love that stuff. Yeah,
But you got to think about it. And it's not, it's not always just right at you have to be conscious of what you're doing. Otherwise, I would fall right into the same trap, which is do it all over again.
I mean, that's why role playing is so important. And it's like and role playing should be fun. I don't know why people don't. Why do people not like role playing?
I think it puts some, it's the judgment. I remember. I still have. Here's a story I just thought of. So I'm about 31, 32 years old, and I'm selling radiology gear. I really love what I'm doing. I'm making good money. Life's good. And at the national sales meeting, they had me go up and do the role play. And I was nervous. It wasn't that huge a company, but it was big enough. I'm like, and it was on a new product, and I flopped. And the CEO wrote on a piece of paper,
"Oh, you flopped."
A flop. He goes, "Don't quit your day job." I have it. I don't have it here in New Orleans, but I have it in Houston. I have it framed. I've had it.
That's awesome.
40, 35 years,
Don't quit your day job.
That was from the CEO after I stumbled all over myself in front of the group.
That's great. That's a good insult. My best insult that I was given was from a girl in high school, Cara Ticchio. And something happened. Maybe it was something happened, and she was mad at me. Usually nobody was mad at me, but she was, whatever. And
she seems to have that effect on women a lot.
Yeah, she wrote a letter. She said, "When I think about you, everything about your personality, your mannerisms, and your attitude sucks." It was like it was the whole shebang, right to your soul. And I'm thinking that takes guts, to really rip somebody like that and put it in writing,
Right.
And
you still remember it all these years later. Think about that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I've told the story before. It was good. I took it to heart. You know what? I remember. You're developing all your kind of skills in high school, your social skills, because everybody's around, there's 300-400 people, whatever. But I remember walking out of the school, and I was upset. And I thought to myself, by the time I get home, I'm probably not even going to remember this. And it's almost like you could feel it just kind of drifting away, because it's literally just words. It's just words. But words are good too. With let's see. Here, I was telling you, here's a new here's my cold calling pitch that I've been using. Which is a lot of fun. Let me roll it with you. Okay. Ring, ring, ring. Hello, Joe?
Yes, Joe.
Hey, Joe. Hey, this is Dan Jordan. I wonder if you can help me. I'm with a company called 9 Stone Partners. Well, first of all, did I catch you at a bad time?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Well, great. Listen, I'll be incredibly quick. Just 2 questions. Would it be wrong of me to assume that at least one of your sales team members is not making their quota?
That would be correct.
So at least one is not. No, okay.
At least one.
Okay. And then second question. Would you be against getting that fixed if you could do it for free?
No, I would not be against that.
And now I'm into it. I mean, this cold call pitch is like you can't beat it. I'm totally negative. Everything is to force you to say no instead of saying yes. It's cool. First of all, did I catch you at a bad time? No, it's not a bad time. Would it be wrong of me to assume that somebody's not making their quota? No, it's so easy to say no. It's so, yes is a commitment no matter what you do. So you want to get people to say no, which is really a yes. Would you be against me giving you something for free?
Right.
No,
of all the things I liked about Sandler, the thing I liked the most was negative reverse selling. I thought it was just genius. Same thing you're talking about here is put the negative. You probably really don't want something like this, do you? This doesn't fit what you're doing, is it? This isn't something you would even consider, would it be?
Yeah. Well, actually, no, you don't want. Yeah, that's right. That is the double reverse. That is the Sandler method. I used to mock it, like in speech. I say, listen, when it comes to objections, I know you want to do the double reverse backflip, swan dive. No, don't, but no, I just want to do total, and tell them instead of ask them, tell them you're the type of person that doesn't want to lose, or you're like the type of person that doesn't want to get ripped off.
Right.
just tell them stuff, so they can say that's right.
In the cold calls you've been making with that script, how's it work?
Yeah, dynamite. You want to get in. This is the objections that you get is sometimes you reach a solopreneur and they don't have a sales team. They say, oh, actually, I don't have a sales team. And I say, oh my gosh, got it. That's great. Well, let me ask you, are you making your quota? Oh, we don't really do sales. Well, great. Well, listen, hey, I'm done selling now. So don't worry. By the way, great line. I'm done selling now. It's a total Columbo maneuver. I don't know if anybody knows Columbo. For those people less than 2,000 years old, Columbo is an old TV show, and his famous thing is he'd leave them and he'd walk out the door and go, oh, just one more thing. And then because your guard would be down when he's out the door. And so by saying, hey, listen, I'm done selling now. I'm over it. Their guards are down. Okay, good. All right. And no matter how smart people are, no matter how logical people are, that emotional, they can't beat it. Einstein can't beat it.
Yeah.
And so
Sandler had the same deal. He just exactly what you did. He would do when like, yeah, we're done. Since we're done now, right? We're done. We're finished. And they go, we're done. And he'd get up and walk out. And as he got to the door, he'd go, let's go one more question. And he'd get right back into it again.
We used to call it the doorknob close.
Yeah.
You would touch the doorknob and you would touch it. Hey, just one thing. I have to tell these people when I get back to the office what's going on. What's the real reason that you're not going ahead with this? I mean, you want the results, right? You want the time frame that we're in, right? So what's really holding you back? Just so I could put it on my thing when I talk to them. And then whatever they say, you're back into it. But anyway, so what I would say to you that once you say that I'm not, I'm a solopreneur. Got it. That makes it. Listen, I'm done selling now. Hey, real quickly, let me just tell you what we do is, we used to give leads to a bunch of people, to accountants and consultants like yourself. But what we found is we're really good at getting your leads and you get the leads, but you can't close worth a squat. And so what we do is we put a sales division in there too. So now we just do the whole thing. We get the leads. We have salespeople, top-notch people that close them. And so we just bring people like you, customers. I know it's not right for you, but who in your circle do you think this would be appropriate for?
There you go.
And so I get my pitch out.
And, you can always double back with that question. Like, you say this works for him, but I'm not real. Why didn't it work for you? Why didn't like kind of just you probably circle yourself back into a conversation like that?
But the thing is, you got to be comfortable playing, being in the game. The prize is you're in front of you're talking to somebody. You've already won. It's so hard to get on a one-on-one conversation with somebody. You've already won. And so, just play around there.
Play around and be an actor. That's what I think. You don't be somebody else.
Yeah.
Be Dan Jordan today, and not Joe Miller. You know,
We used to do that. We used to pretend like when we were stockbrokers. I used to pretend I was the guy next to me, and he would pretend because it's so easy to sell for Joe Miller. It's so easy to say, "Hey, this is Joe Miller. I'm a big idiot. This is the reason why I'm calling." You're right.
That's true.
Wow, that's exactly
so
what you need to do. Call with your buddy's name.
Yeah, and you take all the pressure off yourself.
Yeah, because what happens is you don't have that psychological thing that you're saying, nobody wants to speak. It's like when my wife was yelling at me before and she was saying, why did you put this in the wrong place, whatever. And I don't want the answer is because I thought it went there and I'm wrong and you think I'm an idiot, And so the answer is, why'd you put it there? Because I'm an idiot. Nobody wants to say that.
Let's just get to it.
But I have no problem saying Joe Miller's an idiot. Because it's not close to me.
Most people don't have that problem, actually.
That is awesome. All right. So how long are you being in Louisiana for?
You probably can't hear it. So we came here with the goal of trying to, kind of fix the house up a little bit. The last time I was here, we were in the garage, right? So we cleaned all that up. It looks great out there. And so we started, taking parts of the house down. And we thought it was going to be like surface stuff, like, hey, let's replace this trim. And my wife, her dad was a furniture maker in Sweden, so she knows how to use all the tools and stuff. And I could do it, but it would take me literally 20 times longer than she does. So she starts ripping into it, and all of a sudden we got jacks up on the house, and it's like, this is now a major project. And then the snow came and we got stuck. So she's out there actually banging on it right now. I think she's going to finish up today. We're going to leave back and go back tomorrow.
Oh my gosh. That's a
woman. The thing is, the tech, I didn't come equipped for the technology piece, right? So I'm using 5G off the phone to get the Wi-Fi on the so it's
amazing.
Really, if I have a phone, if I have a phone with a hotspot connection, I can do anything.
Hey, you had told me that you had an incident this week where you sent a video to somebody and got some business from it.
Well, what happened was I know we've talked about this before, is LinkedIn gives you a list of people whose birthday it is today and tomorrow and every day. And one of the guys was somebody I follow on LinkedIn and I like, and I just literally went,
What's his name? Why are you so scared to mention his name?
You know what his name says. So I said, hey, I just wanted to say happy birthday. I know it's a special day. I just want to say happy birthday. I hope it's everything you want it to be. Don't be a stranger. So literally that was it. Sent that, and I didn't send it through any service or anything. I just right on LinkedIn. He went, boom, just like that. A little while later, he writes back. He goes, I've got.
Now this was a video.
This was a video. This was a video. And nobody's sending him a video. Nobody's sending him a video. So he writes back. He said, I got literally hundreds of people, hitting happy birthday. And he said several people have tried to pitch me, which I was like, I don't know who pitches somebody on their birthday. I guess people do it. I said, who the heck wants to pitch anybody on their birthday? So he said, but I was wondering, do you teach people how to do this? And I'm thinking, it ain't that complicated. It just went like this and took a video, right? But it wasn't that part that he was thinking about. It was, how do you connect with people? How do you use the technology to connect with someone just by saying, hey, it's your birthday. He said, would you teach? He said, do you teach this to bankers? I said, I could teach it to anyone. It's not that complicated. I said, it's a mindset and it's being conscious of what you're doing. And so, I think he's going to fly me up to work with some of his staff. And I'm like, all of that from one
That's
happy
it.
birthday video.
Well, it wasn't, people have, Here's your buddy's book again. You know, The Art of Persuasion. Everybody psychologically, basically wants two things. They want to be safe and secure, and they want to be heard. People need to feel like their words matter, that they matter. And, the greatest gift you can give to somebody is to truly, hear them and lift them. And so you expressed to him, you've spoken to him before, I guess, by, through LinkedIn, but his work has impressed upon you, and you let him know that he feels valued. He feels, he has worth now. He touched somebody, and you just let him know that without asking for anything in return, which I think is awesome. And people need to learn. There is a process to do that. I was talking with, actually, I spoke about with you. You have this unique way of creating instant rapport. I've been told that I can do that as well with people. And I was talking with my wife about it. I'm saying, what is it? And, she mentioned stuff like that. And she told me, she goes, well, when you meet people, you seem to genuinely like them first.
And that's the thing we talked about a few weeks ago, right?
Yeah. And so you should go into it looking for reasons to like somebody. And they, and then it doesn't really matter what you say, because it's the feeling, that
That's
you get.
Exactly there. Right. The words mean nothing. The words are the smallest part of the whole interaction.
Hey, old man, we got 2 minutes left. That's it. What other things are like for these young whippersnappers out there? What's something that they can do? I'm gonna put my book.
Well, one of the things I've been thinking about today.
Read anymore?
It's funny. I was just, who Jesse Itzler is. You're in Atlanta. You know who Jesse Itzler is? Part owner of the Hawks. His wife is Sarah Blakely, the lady who developed Spanx.
Sarah Blakely was in my Toastmaster group 100 years ago.
No kidding.
Yeah, she would give speeches talking about this little device that she invented. And now
was
she's
she good?
A billionaire.
Was she good?
What?
Was she good?
She was good enough to earn $1 billion. I don't know. I guess it worked.
Well, anyway, about the reading part, I just read right before we got on this live. I read a little piece of Jesse. It said he hadn't read a book since high school. He's a multi-millionaire. I'm thinking, And that goes to what we were talking about earlier, which is, should you read 1,000 books or just one 1,000 times? And I would have been inclined to go the other way at one time, but now I think that you read one book 1,000 times and implement it.
I think so too. You know what people should do? Watch this podcast 1,000 times, because it's over now. That's 37 minutes. You guys are awesome. Eat well, live long, and prosper. Go get them today. Look at that. End stream.